So the process of getting a marriage license in the state of Alabama has been in chaos in recent days. After a federal judge struck down the state's ban on same-sex marriage and the Supreme Court refused to block that ruling, meaning it was going to go into effect, Roy Moore, the Chief Justice of Alabama's Supreme Court, the state court, took matters into his own hands. He instructed local judges to ignore the federal court ruling and the Supreme Court and still refuse to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Now, as you might imagine, complete disarray followed, with judges in some counties following the federal court's order and issuing the licenses, while others refused licenses to same-sex couples, and some just shut down the entire marriage license operation altogether. But today, another ruling which might provide some clarity to local judges who aren't sure what to do. Earlier today, a federal judge ruled that officials in Mobile should go ahead and let same-sex couples get married, basically telling them to stop ignoring her original ruling from a few weeks ago when she declared, in no uncertain terms, that Alabama's ban on same-sex marriage was unconstitutional. Today's ruling was part of a lawsuit intended to clear things up between the conflicting federal and state rulings. And in some ways, what's most remarkable about this fight in Alabama right now, this constitutional crisis, is that it hasn't happened earlier. I mean, in state after state after state, opponents of same-sex marriage have basically waved the white flag of surrender, which is partly a sign of the evolution in public opinion on this matter. As recently as 2003, according to Pew Research, just 33% of the country supported same-sex marriage. 10 years later, half of the country favored same-sex marriage. And that was the year that Jason Collins became the first active male player in any of the big four American pro sports leagues to come out as gay. Writing at the time, quote, "I'm glad I'm coming out in 2013 rather than 2003. The climate has shifted, public opinion has shifted, and yet we still have so much farther to go." Joining me now is Jason Collins. Great to have you here. I wanted to talk to you for a while.
Thank you for having me.
So when you see what's going on with this, you know, we've got the marriage case that's going to come before the Supreme Court, this Alabama fight that's happening. What's your feeling about where we are in this sort of trajectory of progress?
It's a little frustrating when you see people fighting against change. And, you know, some people are digging in their heels and trying to find ways around it. But, you know, I think ultimately marriage equality is going to be a fact in this country in all 50 states. And, you know, slowly we're on that path, and obviously with the Supreme Court case that's coming up later in a couple months, we're looking forward to the outcome of that.
I mean, when you made the decision to do what you did,
yes.
How has that altered the trajectory of your life?
My life is exponentially better in so many ways. You know, I was able to go out and play on the court. There's a picture here from my game playing at Denver. I think that was my third game back in the league. But just being able to, after the game is over, not have to hide who I am. In some of the games, especially here in New York and Brooklyn, my boyfriend was here and able, you know, waiting in the family room just like everyone else's loved one were, and that's how it should be. It's you're able to have your private life, but not feel like you have to hide anything, and then you're able to go out there and, you know, do your job and play your sport.
Did things change much in your relationship? I mean, it seemed to me like it largely was sort of a non-issue. Maybe that's the wrong perception from your standpoint. How did it feel?
Well, it was a huge issue for some of my teammates. One of my teammates in particular took time, especially in that first week that I came back, to pull me aside and just say, "This is going to be huge for the country. It's going to be a great sports moment," and just how proud he was of me and how happy he was I was back in the league and that I was his teammate. And moments like that are incredible and special. And now, you know, I've seen it now with Robbie Rogers for the LA Galaxy in the soccer, and then in college with Derek Gordon at UMass, and, you know, more and more male athletes. Because for a long time, women were taking the lead. We have
That's right.
Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, and I'm so grateful and thankful for every athlete, male or female, who came out. We're all on the same team and making it easier or better for the next generation.
Are there, I wondered this as soon as you came out, are there closeted male athletes in this country who reach out to Jason Collins to say,
yes,
what should I do?
Well, I don't know, not what should I do, but just talk. And that's sort of been my role when I was later in my career. I was a mentor, and it's just shifted. Instead of mentoring on
Young
the court.
centers,
Yeah, young
bigs.
centers about like, okay, this is how you...
How to give a foul?
Yeah, this is how you give a foul. This is how you take a charge. This is how you flop. Now it's like, okay, these are some good people, good resources to know, a good support system. And again, we can all, we talk about sports, talk about basketball, but then we also talk about, their private lives and just, how they're doing, trying to offer that another level of support for them.
It's always struck me that being, 22 years old, under tremendous pressure, with millions of dollars, and trying to have anything resembling a normal private romantic life, regardless of whether you're straight or gay, is hard enough.
Yeah,
right?
well, especially for a basketball player, because typically we are taller. So, take myself, for instance, I'm 7 feet.
You stand out no matter what.
I do not blend in.
Right.
Unless I'm out there on the basketball court, that's the only time I blend in. But, it's important for people to feel comfortable in their own skin and live their authentic life, because it will alleviate stress.
Could we just talk for a second about how great this NBA season's been?
Yeah, it's been
incredible. It's a fantastic season.
Yeah, and plus I'm a little partial to the Golden State Warriors. My twin brother, Jaren, is an assistant coach with the Warriors. So he's actually in town now. So I'm looking forward to catching up with him this weekend.
They are phenomenal. There is nothing, if you love basketball, there is nothing more beautiful. It's like listening to it's like a Tchaikovsky symphony or something. To watch the Golden State Warriors when they are turning it up, when they are firing all cylinders.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like those who play video games, it's like NBA Jam when the guy's on fire, like some of the shots that Steph Curry is doing out there, and Klay Thompson too, and they have so many shooters. And then, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers that are playing really
Coming
well.
on right now.
Yeah, and then you have the addition of Pau Gasol in Chicago, and that combination seems to finally be clicking with Derrick Rose, and so it'll be fun to watch. And then how scary is this that you can have Oklahoma City or maybe even San Antonio as an 8 seed maybe, or a 7 seed, and it's just like, who wants to play against them in the first round? So.
Do you think they should go? There's been some interesting talk about going to the best 16 teams as opposed to the best 8 from each conference, because you end up, it's been so lopsided in favor of the West for so long. Yeah.
I'm a little bit mixed on this because I played in the Eastern Conference for all my 13 years in the NBA. However,
probably on some on-the-bubble teams.
Yeah, there was one Nets team, like we were about 500, and we ended up going to the playoffs. And
maybe not.
Yeah, but I actually am in favor of just having the best team, because I think it'll make the playoffs even better.
Jason Collins, it's really, really a pleasure. This is the most important question. Ready?
Yes, let's hear it.
Can you get me tickets to the All-Star game? I'm asking you on national television.
I know a guy who knows a guy. We'll work on it.
It's in New York. All right. Really a pleasure, man. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Great to see you. All right. Basketball game this weekend, in fact. All right, there's parents who do vaccinate their kids, there's parents who don't vaccinate their kids, and then there's parents who delay vaccinating their kids, and one of the doctors who helps justify doing that, he's going to join me ahead. Stick around for that.